What's going on YouTube? OCD for EDC here. What I got for your face balls today, we're going to be talking about a cool new knife from Kizer. First up though, here's the board. If anybody wants to contact us or support the channel, here's all of our information. You want to ask us any questions or ask about international shipping, that sort of stuff, you can email us right here, info@ocdforedc.com. But you can support the channel. You can check out our Patreon. Oop, that one. Or you can go on our website, ocdforedc.com, and pick up all kinds of cool stuff like these patches and several different stickers. We also have really sweet 30-ounce tumblers in multiple different colors. So go and check those out. It's got my maker's mark on the other side. Really cool. Yeah, so if you want to help support the channel, go and do that. We also have got new strops from Mr. Steve Kluver. These are handmade here in Iowa. Beautiful, beautiful strops. They come with a piece of basswood as well as a piece of leather. They're magnetic backed on this beautiful brush stainless stropping block, and it is very, very nice. Come with a really cool OCD for EDC sticker on the strop. So yeah, very well done, very beautiful, and yeah, so those are available on the website as well. All right, let's get into this, and today we're talking about the Deviant. This is a new offering from Kizer, relatively new. It's been out for just a little bit here, a couple of months, or maybe a month, 2 months, something like that. This is an offering from Sheepdog Blades. So they're the ones that did the Kizer Sheepdog. And now they're coming in with this Deviant. This one here happens to be in the copper bolster with green micarta. Really good looking knife, but they also offer this in black micarta with white G10 bolsters, which is equally beautiful. Now, this is a stainless steel liner lock knife, riding on bearings, and it is rocking M390 blade steel. So this particular one, micarta, copper, M390 on bearings, really, really nicely done. And at a really attractive price too. These things are selling for $149 in this variant or the white G10 with black micarta. Now, the white G10 one, I don't know the weight on that one. Definitely going to be a little bit lighter because of the copper, but really cool knife, really good in hand, and just an awesome EDC. So let's get into it here. We'll do a few size comparisons. This thing's going to size up really well with the Quiet Carry Drift. That's the Drift 2.0. Also, the Spyderco Para 3. So that's the type of, that's the size knife we're talking about. And then also one that I believe is pretty underrated is another Kizer. This is the Kizer Assassin. And you can see here that very, very similar in size. Actually, I'll turn them over so they sit a little nicer. There you go. So very, very similar in size. And there's a lot of knives in this size range. So what do we got here for dimensions? We've got an overall length of just under 7 1/4. It actually measures 7.223 inches. We've got a handle length of 4.166, and we've got a blade length of 3.057 inches. Handle thickness is just over 1/2 inch at 534 thousandths. Blade stock on this thing is a pretty slim 118 thousandths or 3 millimeter, which is nice to see. I'd even like to see it a little thinner than that. But they did a decent job on this blade. It is a high flat grind, not a full flat grind, but you can see it's pretty high. And this thing comes down to a pretty nice edge that measures between 19 to 20 thousandths. So they did a good job on the grind here. But like I said, even thinner blade stock would be even better. Let's get a weight on this guy. My scale turns on. There we go. 4.554 ounces, so 4.5 ounces. Like I said, I don't know what the weight is on the white G10 variant, but definitely going to be lighter. You can feel a little bit of heft from the copper, but it's a really good looking knife. You know, for those that don't like copper, you're not going to like this. I get it. But for those that do, the green micarta with copper bolster, I think, is a good look. They've also finished this knife very well, so it's got a really nice stone wash on the primary grind with a satin flat, and it's stone washed around the spine of the blade as well. The liners are completely polished, as well as the standoffs, and then you have a polished stainless steel clip. And we're going to talk about this clip because not only does it function very well, it's also extremely cool. So I really like this thing that Kizer has going on here, where they're doing premium materials, but you know, most knives that are sporting M390 blade steel are going to come with a titanium milled clip and be like a tie frame lock, or something like that. And here, you know, we're doing a liner lock, which, you know, functions beautifully. It's got the in my opinion, the pro of, you know, you can grab this knife anywhere. You're not worried about putting pressure on the lock bar. Action on it's fantastic. You can, you know, do the thumb stud from both directions, right or left-handed. It works extremely well. Little finger flick, and yeah, action on it's fantastic. So all the way around, I really like what Kizer's doing here. They're kind of blurring the lines between a high-end and a more budget, but it brings something really cool to the table that's affordable for most people. Let's take a little look-see at what we're dealing with. So you can see here on the pivot, it's only tooled on one side, and it is the show side that is tooled. No Loctite on that screw, which fantastic. Now, we're probably only going to need to remove these two, and they appear to be T6. Pivot was T8. Pop these out of here. And then there's one screw that holds the scale on, and we will pull that just to see how they what they have going on here between the connection between copper and micarta. So you can see some weight relieving there on the liner. We've got brass caged ceramic ball bearings, which is very, very nice. Throw this out here. And some more weight relieving here along with the standoffs. Now, one thing that's super cool here, I love this pocket clip design. So you can see it's a nice, you know, stainless steel fold over deep carry style clip. It's not 100% deep carry, but it's certainly deep. And it's just really, really cool. You know, most clips that are stainless steel clips like this, let me get that bearing out of, there we go. Most clips, do I have one laying here? Of course I don't. Most clips are a split, here we go. I do have one. Something like this where you can access the hardware. And Kizer took an extra step there and did hidden hardware on this. The first time I've ever seen it on a stainless steel fold over style clip like this. Generally you see this on milled titanium clips, but it's very, very well done, and you can see that the hardware is completely flush in there. It's just, they did such a good job on this particular pocket clip, and it's just super cool to see. I really like seeing innovation when it comes to pocket clips, and certainly, you know, the screws have got to be perfect in length, as well as they are recessed, so you don't see the screws sticking up inside the knife. Those are all just really cool little touches that, you know, just add to the overall feel from the knife. Let's get this screw out and see what we're working with on the inside here. I don't know if they have, you know, glued the copper and micarta together. They have not. I've already tell that it's loose. Okay. So they have machined this area that is much thinner than the copper itself. The copper is otherwise, I figured we might see some pockets on the back, but we don't. And here's the micarta, and they've got this machined pocket there. And then, yeah, there's a little machined nub right there on the copper that lines up with the hole in the liner, and that also locates that copper bolster. So very, very nicely done. Really nice machining on this knife. And like I said, for the $150 price range, it's just awesome to see this level of machining at a reasonable price. Like I said, there's a lot of people that don't want to spend, $200+ on a pocket knife. And this affords people the opportunity to get, premium materials. Generally, you're not seeing these kinds of materials. You could get one of these. You could get something in the budget world that has either copper scales or micarta, but isn't going to have an M390 blade or vice versa. I think still the cheapest M390 that I know of anyway, or at least it was at one time, were a couple of Kershaw models, like oh, good Lord, the Deviant, and man, I can't think, the Knockout maybe? I can't remember, but Kershaw offered a couple of knives in M390 blade steel that were sub $100. And, it's just, I like to see that kind of stuff. It brings more people into the, premium pocket knife hobby, if you will. And it's just really, really cool to see. And all the time, our hobby is growing and getting bigger and bigger, and more people are participating, and that's fantastic. So definitely like to see that. All right. Now, this pivot screw is D-shaped, and it does go the whole length. So I think I'm going to spin this pivot around so we can build this show side down. This is something that I see a lot of people don't do. And I always, if it's possible, now sometimes because of a D-shaped pivot, you might have to build or start with the pivot from one direction, because the actual pivot itself, the pivot tube, only has a small section that is D-shaped on one end, so it forces you to put the pivot in from one direction, because only one liner or one side of the frame lock has the D-shaped hole, which is what we have here. We have the show side has the D-shaped hole. The lock side does not. However, the pivot tube, the D-shape, carries all the way across instead of just being the very end of it. So that means I can put this pivot in either direction. And to me, it makes more sense to have the non-tooled side on the show side. But what that also does is it offers me the ability to build it from this direction, which in my opinion makes a lot more sense, because I don't have to fight the tension from the lock bar or the pocket clip if it's set up for right side tip up or tip down, just right side carry. I don't have to fight the pocket clip being, not flat and the knife rocking, as well as the lock bar tension. Also, what it allows is what I'll show you here in just a moment. Let me get this stop pin installed. But it also allows me to put my blade down and then put a little bit of lube on the detent path, as well as, obviously you can put lube on the bearing area, pivot area from both directions, but it allows me to do the detent path from this direction, which is really great. Okay, now at this point, I didn't have to fight the lock bar tension, and I can set everything down on here and get it lined up, and then I'm ready to put the pivot screw in and hold that lock bar tension. So, in my opinion, this just makes the whole process a bit easier, but teach their own. Whichever way you like to do it is the way that I would encourage you to do so. All right, let's get these standoff screws, body screws in on the back. And then we'll check out and see what our centering looks like. Like I said, this thing, I really like this. I like what Kizer's doing here with a budget-ish sort of knife with premium materials. Okay. Pivot is a little tight, I can already tell. We're perfectly centered. But let me back this pivot screw off. Oh yeah, that was tight. Okay, 0 blade play. Action is fantastic. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know that you could fail this. Yeah, I'm trying to just push really slow until the detent breaks. Yeah, I don't think you could fail this. And you do have a little bit of blade tang there that hits you in the thumb when you release the lock. So you can let it drop right there on your thumb. Yeah, it's nice. You also have nice access to the lock bar right there. So there is a difference in height and gives you really, really nice access to that liner lock. And yeah, the action on it is just fantastic and will only get better with time. But there you go, guys. This is the Kizer Deviant. I really like the knife. I wish they would do a Deviant XL. I think it's an awesome, awesome knife that definitely love the price point and the materials here. Did a really nice job on the blade grind. You know, my only kind of complaints here would be I'd love to see, 2 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter blade thickness. Something in the like 90 thousandths range. And, if, like I said, if they made this in a larger, 3 3/4 inch blade or something like that would be really fantastic. But the way it stands, it's a very, very nice knife. Definitely one that a lot of people are going to love. And this clip is really, really fantastic. I love the way it's got no branding on it. It's just a nice, simple clip, but functions extremely well. In and out of the pocket is great. You got nice space underneath it for most, all pants are going to work with this thing. And yeah, just a great little knife that was well thought out at a good price. Can't beat that. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. We'll catch you next time. I'm gone. Hey!